Welcome to the fastest stop in town. Today on the Succah Sukkah Daf Nun Hey. We are going to begin on the top of Nun Hey Amud Aleph, third line from the top. Meisvei. So we're going to ask the following question. Tani Rava Bar Shmuel Yochel Kashem Shekaikin Al Shabbos Kefi Atzma. Just like a person blows the shofar on Shabbos, Yal Rosh Chodesh Kefi Atzmo, and also on Rosh Chodesh by itself, Kach, you would think, Hayu Taikin Al Kol Musaf Musaf, that every single time there is a carbon musaf, you blow the extra 9. So let's say, for example, as we said, let's say it's Rosh Chodesh, and it's Shabbos, and Rosh Hashanah. So therefore, since it's a musaf for those three individually, you have 9, 9, and 9. So you would think that that's the din, Talmud Omer, B'varashi Chad Sheichem. So what do we learn? So that's a Kiyufta Rabbi Acha. We learn out from Rashi Chad Sheichem regarding, and Rashi says it's Gabi Tekiyos Ksiv, that's telling you on Rosh Chodesh that is when it's done, but it's coming to exclude when it's the Musaf. So Kiyufta, that's actually a question, a refutation. So Rashi Chad Sheichem is Lashon Yochid, to say only one set of Tekiyos, even if, let's say, there's more than one Musaf, which is against the din of Rav Acha. And therefore, if that's actually the case, then when we said, oh yeah, there's a case of 51 or 48. So one of the cases he mentioned again was a situation where of Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Chodesh, and Shabbos, that would be 48. Maybe that's no longer in the calculation. So my Talmuda. So how do we derive this from this pasuk? Rabbi Amakrav Roishi Chad Sheichem Pukshu Kol Chadashim Kulam Zelazeh, that they're all compared one to another, and we don't make a distinction one from the other. Ravashi Omer Ksiv Chad Sheichem B'Ksiv Uvarashe. So Chad Sheichem, as we said, is like Lashon Yochid. Uvarashe is Lashon Rabbi. So the Eza Chodesh Sheish L'Shtei Rashim. What month do we have two heads? That is Rashi. Haviyomer Zer Rosh Hashanah. Yom Rachmana Chad Sheichem Chadhi. Even a situation where you have more than one musaf, nonetheless, Chad Sheichem, you only bring one. You only hear the blast for one. V'od Tanya B'chol Shel Moed on Chol Moed V'Rishon Maho Oimrim. What was said on the first Habu Hashem B'nei Elon. It sounds a lot like what we say in our tefillah. The Sheni on the second day, Ma'ayimrim, we would say Rosh Ha'omer Rukim. The Shlishi, you can see these all taken from Tehillim. On the third day, Ma'ayimrim, Mi Yokum Li Am Re'im, V'Ravim Ma'ayimrim, what did we say in the fourth? Binu Bo'arim Ba'am. The Chamish Ma'ayimrim, Hasiroisi Mesevel Shichmai, Mashishi on the sixth day, Ma'ayimrim, Yimotu Kol Mois B'Yaretz. Now, let's say Shabbos fell out on any of these days, so then Yimotu Yidche. Yimotu, which is typically on day 6, that one we push off to later. Let's start from Manach Lusimana, and he would give a simon, Hey, Vav, Mem, Beis, Hey, Yud. So if you look at these different psukim, they all start with these different letters, and therefore if you remember this simon, that's how you'll remember the order. Papa manach lahu simana hum havi. So in this situation, the hey, vav, mem are the same, and the yud is the same. The question is hey and beis, namely the fourth and fifth day, whether or not binu bo'arim ba'am was said on the fourth day and not on the fifth, or hasiroisi mesevel shichmai, was that said on the fifth day or the fourth? V'simanach, the way to remember who said what, vua the sifri. So again, you can remember it in this way, the sifri, the sifra, so you can remember it based on vuha, based on, again, the order of the bays preceding the hay. Anyway, Tiyufta de Rav Acha, Bar Chanina, tiyufta. This again is a tiyufta, since only one song is recited, so only one set of tekiyos were performed. He didn't just make this up. So how do we understand his drasha? It is true there's something unique, but not that we do more tekiyos, that we just blow them a little bit longer than normal. Rabbanan de Kisri Mishmeid Rav Acha Amri Loimer Shemar B'Toikin, that we are marble with toikin, those who actually blow. Not that the sound is longer, but the people that are involved in the process, we just add more people to it. We in Chutzlaretz, we have 2 days. Hechi Abdina. So how do we perform? What do we do with these days? Because we actually have an extra day. So by Omer Sheni Yidche, the second day is pushed off because it's not Chol Moed. It's considered like a regular. It's Yom Tov. Rabbi Omer Shvi Yidche, we pushed off the 7th. Tanya Kivasi de Rava. So we have a statement in support of Rava that the 7th is pushed off. Imchal Shabbos liyos bechad mehen yimoiti yidche. So we already see that Yemuta is pushed off, that we push off the 7th one, and therefore it makes sense that that's the one we push. Iskin a meimer b'narda the medalgi delugi. That what he would actually do is they would say both, but they would like skip. So on the 3rd day of Sukkot, we say b'yom hasheni enu b'yom hashlishi, because of sveika d'yoyma. And that's actually how we read it. We do one day and the other day we mention both. So because of that, it's not that we do one without the other. We just mention a couple of them, which is again the pshat of the medalgi delugi. Let's now continue with the next Mishnah on Nun Hayim and Beis. So the Mishnah says as follows: Yom Tov Harishon Shel, on the first day of Sukkot, Hayu Sham Yud Gimel Parim, we would actually have a lot of karbonos, 13 bulls, Elim Shnayim, 2 rams, Useir Echad, and 1 goat. Nishtayr Sham Yud Daled Kvasim, V'Shmayna Mishmaros. Then we would have 14 kvasim, 14 sheep, and that would be left over for the 8 mishmaros. So let's take a step back. We know that there were 24 mishmaros. Now typically, each mishmar would work for a week, and then they're replaced, and there was a question of how the lechem upanim was distributed to the mishmar entering, exiting. We're going to talk about that more also today, and a little bit in the last daf. So there's 24 mishmaros, so there's 13 parim, elim shnayim, that gives you up to 15, sir echad, sir up to 16, which means out of the 24 mishmaros, 16 already did something. So there's 8 mishmaros left. So therefore, what do you do with the 14 kvasim for the shmona mishmaros for the 8 mishmaros? So by Yom Rishon, on the first day, because again there's 8 left, so Shisha, 6 of the mishmaros, Makriven Shnaim Shnaim. There would be Makriv 2 kvasim, which would get to 12. Mishar Echad Echad. The other 2 mishmaros would just bring 1 each. B'Sheni, Chamish Makriven Shnaim Shnaim, Mishar Echad Echad. So in this situation, because there are less parim, everything stayed the same. There was Elam Shnaim, Sir Echad, but instead of Yud Gimel parim, it went from 13 to 12 to 11 to 10, 9, 8, and finally on the 7th day it was 7 parim. That's how it worked. So therefore, there was always 1 mishmar less. There was always 1 par less, which means there was an extra mishmar hanging around. So therefore, because of that, they went to the kvasim. Out of the 14 kvasim, so then there would be an extra mishmar every day, an extra mishmar, which means they would always at least bring 1 of the kvasim, but sometimes, as we said, it's 2. So on the second day, 5 mishmaros would bring Shnaim Shnaim, B'Shar Echad Echad. B'Shlishi on the 3rd day, Dal Makriven Shnaim Shnaim, B'Shar Echad Echad. B'Ravi Shloisha Makriven Shnaim Shnaim. On the 4th day, 3 mishmaros would bring 2, B'Shar Echad Echad. B'Chamisha Shnaim Makriven Shnaim Shnaim, B'Shar Echad Echad. B'Shisha on the 6th day, Echad Makriv Shnaim, Bashar echad echad. So and then it says B'shmi, Kul, and Shav, and they were all equal. Why? Because we said on the seventh day there was only 7 parim. So there's 7 parim, 2 elin, that's 9, 1 seir, that's 10. So then all you have left is 14. 10 plus 14 is the 24. So Kul and Shavin means that everyone only brought 1. B'shmini chazul lafayis kibbur. On the Shmini Atzeres, they all went back to their original lottery system. And this is, as we recall, Shmini Atzeres is considered to be a regal b'fnei atzmo pizar kishav. And the pay is based on this right here, Fayas, that they would start a new lottery system for those karbanos. Amru, mi shehikru parim hayoim. If you brought one of the parim, it was 13, 12, lo yakriv al-machar, you're definitely not going to continue. El chayzin chalila, we go back into the lottery system. Because it was only 13, so not everyone was able to bring that. They always were able to bring something, but it wasn't always a par. So name him asnis in Rabbi he lo rabban. L'chayra, our Mishnah is like the sheet of Rabbi, not the rabbanon. The Sanya. Par haba b'shmini, when it came to the par that was brought on Shmini Atzeres, b'chila, originally, mafisin alav divi Rabbi. They would cast the lots as at first. Ram amrim achas mishtei mishmaros deloy sholshu biparim oso. Actually, it was 2 mishmaros that didn't have the chance to be able to bring at least 3 parim, so they're the ones that are part of the lots. So according to them, there was no lottery for them. Now, let's go slow. What does that mean? So again, if we think about it, we go from 13 down to 7, there was exactly 70 parim. Now, if there was 24 mishmaros, which there were, if you multiply 24 times 3, they equal 72. Which means that every mishmar brought 3 parim with except 2 mishmaros. Now those 2 mishmaros, they would do a lottery for them, for Shmini Atzeres. Where it says, Afil Tamer Rabbanan ought to what? Shtei mishmaros lo asli boy. They still need to do a lottery. So even though it's true that we didn't, according to the sheet, they didn't start all over and do a lottery for all 24, but still a lottery was done. Who's this like? Kol mishmaros shainis u'misholushais. Everyone brought either 2 or 3 parim. Chutz mishnei mishmaros, except for 2 of them, shishainis mein mashlishas. They only brought 2 and not 3. So lema Rabbi v'lo rabbanan. Afilatem rabbanan my lo shilshu bepreachag. It just means that they didn't bring them during Sukkot, but it's possible that one of those 2 definitely brought for the Shmini Atzeres the par. So my kamashma hakamashma and misha hikr parim hayom lo yakriv al-machar no chayzin chalila. It tells you that again, that if you already brought 3, you're not part of that group. You're not part of the lottery. Amarav Elazar. Hani shivim parim keneged me. Famous Gemara as a Rashi, also in Psukim. Why do we have 70? So keneged shiva mumos corresponds to the 70 nations of the world. Par yechidi lam keneged. Why do we bring a par yechidi on Shmini Atzeres? Uma yechida, it's referring to the Klal Yisrael, a nation that's unique. Moshel melech basav adam. Shamul avadav, he said to his servants, Asul suda gedoyla. Make for me a big meal. Afterwards he said to those who he loves, Asul suda katana, make me a small meal. So I can get hana from you. I don't need the item. I just want to connect to you. Rav Yochanan, they lost something when the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, and they don't even realize it. It's much Beis HaMikdash kayim, mizbech mechaper land. Mizbech is mechaper, it's parim. V'yachshav mi mechaper land. Who's going to cause kapara for that? Okay, next Mishnah. B'shleisha prakim mishana, 3 times during the year, hayu kol mishmaros shavos. They were all equal, all the 24 mishmaros. Be'emuri harigolim, when it came to the sacrificial parts of the holidays, v'chiluk lechem apanim, and the division of the showbreads. So there's only a few times during the year that we said that this is the case, which is specifically, as Rashi says, the shosh regolim. What's the emur regolim? B'oyrei shel olos, referring to the hides of the carbon olah, and because of a shaykh shel shami chagiga Habois machmas haregel. The Gemara explains what's this lashon of a moirim. So batzeres on Shavuos armilu hilach matzah hilach chametz. So we would say in this particular order as though to show that the matzah was the ikr. Mishmar shizmanu kavua, the mishmar in which this was their set time, who makrib timidin, they would be makrib the karbanos, the darm the davos, so shar karbanos stibor makrib esakoil. So emori haragolim shall gavoin inhu. The question is, what is this referring to? The emori haragolim are supposed to go to Hashem. They're burnt up. So what does it mean that they're equal? So Amar Chisda ma she'amar biragolim. It's referring to that which is said by the regolim. Says Rashi, b'chiluk karbanos, the division of the karbanos, ha'amurim b'regel, ha'roim l'schalik, whatever things that were fit to be distributed. For example, the chaz of a shok, of the shalma chagiga, shel kol yachad v'echad, b'oyre shel olos, re'iyah. When it comes to ola re'iyah, even though the ola is burned, but the hides are given to the kohanim. Musafi tzibur l'siri chatos. So that's what it's referring to. Back in the Gemara, how do we know they were all equal when it came to this? The pasuk says, "Uval b'chol ois b'chol avos nashay b'sharis yachol af b'sharim mosa shana kain." You would think that the din is they're all equal all year round. Talmud lemer mi'achad sharecha. Well, Marti, this din is not said el b'shashach Yisrael nichnasim b'shar echad. Only a time when we're all gathered together, which is specifically during the Shalosh Regalim. Okay, let's see a couple of questions. We're going to stop here. TA 5. How would they divide this up for the during the Regalim among the Mishmaros? So he says, "B'karbonos haboy machmas haregel." When it comes to the karbanos for the holiday and the lechem upon him, bameh means like what? What were they chayos? So those are the things that were done. TB 7. Eu trei hatera abdinan lahachshiv rosh chodesh loidish shekava bizmanoi. So that we had already, and we'll see that tomorrow. Ad kan.